Hello friends, welcome to a special episode of Star Wars Galaxies Emulator. This isn't going to replace tonight's episode. I just wanted to do this one so we could show how basic crafting works. So this is like a bonus episode. It's going to be done differently than the regular episodes, and that's why I wanted to do this as a separate piece of the series, but to not include it in the episode, well, in the catalog of episodes as an actual episode. So this one will be numbered and inserted, but it's going to be done in a different style. Since I usually do them as a live Let's Play, this one is going to be a time-lapsed Let's Play, so it's going to be a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how basic crafting works, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then I'm going to, well, technically I'm going to stop this video, start another video, time-lapse that video where we go from Spices 1 to Spices 4, and we're standing right in front of our trainer. And I'll explain why we can do this as I'm going. So I hope that makes sense. And hopefully this helps you understand crafting in Star Wars Galaxies a little bit better. So first thing we make is going to be real time. And then we're going to skip to somebody's shooting. Then we're going to skip to time lapse so you can see the whole process go through in very quick time, but you'll get to watch me go from 1 to 4 in probably just a few minutes. So kind of wish it went that fast in real time, but you know how it goes. Alright, so sorry, I got ahead of myself. What we need to do is we need to get several crafting stations. And these are just the crafting tools. So what we're looking at is for this case, a food and chemical crafting tool. Now, since we're only practicing, it is to our advantage to be away from a crafting station, because the crafting station will either prompt us for another prompt that we do not want, and it will hold us up because it'll be one more step we have to do every time we create something. So, major annoyance, if you're practicing, don't stand in front of a crafting station unless you have to. Certain things that have to be made at a crafting station. So if you want to make those, and I can't imagine why you would, because most of the grinding things are not things you have to make in front of a crafting station. And basically, if you look at your list and it doesn't show up, and this is a common question that a lot of people ask when they start crafting, is they have a recipe in their, they have a schematic in their draft, in their data pads, in their draft schematics, but when they go to make it, they can't see it in their tool. And that means that that item has to be made at a crafting station. You won't see it unless you're at a crafting station with the right tool. This takes a generic crafting tool or a food and chemical crafting tool. We're going to use a food and chemical crafting tool because that's what came in our kit that we bought a while back. And what we're going to make is we're going to make Shadow Paw. And we're just going to make a bunch of them. And they use 25 units of organic and 5 units of metal. Since Spice has no experimentation, it makes it a rather simple process. So, and they all take similar things. The Gray Gabaki takes vegetables and organic. Scramjet takes meat and reactive gas, which is harder to find. So don't need to make that one to grind with, because reactive gas is a little bit more rare and usually a little bit more expensive. Shadowpaw uses any organic and any metal, so we've got plenty of both. We can make all we need to make and be done in pretty short order. Our precision laser knife is different. And I'll get into making those when we go into slicing more. But for our intents and purposes for this video, for spice crafting, all you need to know is that you can either use a food and chemical crafting tool or a general crafting tool. Now, this is the way I do it. And some people use macros and it works way better for them, but I do it all by hand, and it's well, for me, it's quicker. So what I do is I click the button to go to another toolbar pane, and I take these and put them in the command keys so that you can just hotkey them. So you hit F1, there's your crafting station. So ready to go. And that way you don't have to keep this window open and you don't have to keep clicking on it. You just keep cycling through them and you're ready to go. I usually use 8 or 9 crafting tools. So I'm probably going to get backed up here depending on how fast Shadowpaw gets made. And as you can see, our grind kit says craft Shadowpaw in practice mode until done. And that's it. That's all you have to do for Smuggler for crafting. So we're going to close this window because we don't need it anymore. And we're going to hit F1. We're going to select Shadowpaw. And if your help is on and it's showing all this crap, go ahead and turn it off. Unless you want to read it, but once you read it, turn it off because it just gets in your way. So it tells us what we already know. It's complexity 10. This tells what you can make it with. This tells you the data size, which is unimportant. This tells you what it requires. And this gives you a brief description about it. So we go to the next screen, and the next screen lets us select what we want to put in which spot. Now, if this was a real crafted item, it would have some kind of requirement, like we talked about before, with the conductivity or these right here. Overall quality, malleability, toughness, it would require those, and those would make this bar go up. So when we add it to it, it would make this bar go up, and it would either be red, green, yellow, depending on how well it fits in that box. So you can pick multiple things. These are our 2 metals. So we can put either of these 2 in the mineral box, or the metal box, and it doesn't care which one, but they have different stats. So if we were using something that actually called for a stat, it would matter which one we put in which box. But it doesn't, so this is relevant for this discussion. I will bring on one of my crafters later and we can demonstrate some more advanced crafting. But just so you understand basic crafting, when you click on an item over here, because it will show you, if you filter items, it will show you everything you have that you can put in these boxes. And when you click on it, it will turn that box green. And that's how you know where it goes. Now you have 2 choices in how you can put it in there. You can either pick it up and drag it, or you can just double click it. Now since we're in a hurry, we're just going to double click it. And then we click assemble, and it tells us what it basically what the end result is going to be. This is what we ended up with. We have a condition, we have a volume, it puts the creator, gives it a serial number, and the number of attributes that it modifies. This will give you 250 action, 250 quickness, and take away 100 strength for 10 minutes. And we didn't do very good because our spice crafting is very low. So we only marginally succeeded. So we're going to click next. And this gives us our final value. This is the last step. Now we're going to have this practice mode checked. Now practice mode lets you waste the resources for the item, without getting the item. So let that sink in. If practice mode is checked, you're throwing all the items into the combiner and you're getting nothing back out. So you have to be very careful in this step. If you're building something and you've been practicing and you want to keep that thing, you have to check this box to make sure practice mode is not checked, because it will save it between sessions. Okay, I think I made that pretty clear. So if we want to change the name on the item, we can type in whatever we want. We can even erase the name and call it something else, and it will label it as that. But it will still show up if you examine it as this. And then we click practice, and it puts it in there, and then it takes 24 seconds to make it. We get 126 experience for each one, and it takes 26 seconds to make it. So I am going to run into a problem where I am waiting for my crafting stations because I know I can do more than 5 in 26 seconds. But that's okay. We're going to be doing this on quick time, so you guys don't have to worry about waiting time and things like that. So we're just going to zip through it. But I'll do another one just to make sure you guys understand all the steps, and I'll just do the steps without any of the explanations so you understand. F1 to open it, and then you can just hit enter, put in your items, enter, 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 and that's all you do. And then F2, enter, 2 items, enter, 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 done. And this is what we're going to do . And you can see I'm already at the end, and even though I'm going slower than normal, it just finally reset the first one. So this is it. This is all we're going to do. So I'm going to get my microphone out of the way. I'm going to end this video and then start a new video, but you guys won't see that. It'll be seamless, but I don't want the first part to be time-lapsed. And the way I'm editing right now, it'll time-lapse and it lapse the entire segment or none at all. So I have to make a new segment. So you will see a brief dark screen, and then the time-lapse will start, and then you will see the whole process all the way up. And as you can see, we've already got 4 boxes in. And spices doesn't take too much. I mean, at max we're 20,000, and we're making 100 something each, so there's not a lot of combines involved. So this isn't going to be a long process, but I'm going to zip through the whole process. You'll see me stop and talk to the trainer, train up to the next level, so we don't hit the experience cap and miss any experience, because sometimes I go so fast I will overshoot, and then I will get no experience for the things I'm creating, and that wastes time and money. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start my time lapse now. So if you'll bear with me, I'll rejoin you at the end and we can talk about what happened. Welcome back. So, total time from Novice Smuggler to Spices 4, which gave us the title Offense, by the way, which I put up, a little less than 45 minutes. If I would have had a couple more, 3 more crafting stations, I probably could have knocked maybe 5-8 minutes off of it total, but 45 minutes is acceptable in my book. So to go from Novice Smuggler up to our 4th box took about 45 minutes. So if you want to master Smuggler and you want to get through the spices tree, that is how you do it. At least in my opinion, it's the easiest way. You make the one thing, that's what you get, and it gets you through it at the most economical rate, the easiest way. So what did that give us? That gave us Crash and Burn, which is a stimulant, Giggle Dust, which is causes euphoria and alertness. We still already had the Gray Gabaki. We got Gunjack, which is a physical strength increaser. Pyropinol, which is a physical strength. Scramjet, which is basically steroids. Sedative H4B, which is used to treat injuries, causes depression. This is used as a truth serum. Now they all have different effects, so you have to actually look at the product to see what the effects are, but the 3 most common ones you're going to use are Muon Gold, Booster Blue, and Neutron Pixie. Those are the 3 that you see most often. Sometimes you see Droid Lubricant. Not a lot of people I know use it, but sometimes they do. Anyway, Muon Gold, Booster Blue, Neutron Pixie. I don't think it's really required to do a spices tutorial on what they all do, but just know that after the effect runs out, there is a serious downer that trashes your skills, your health pool, your action pool, and your mind pool for a little while while you recover. And the whole time you're under that downer, you're puking your guts out. So just be aware of that. If you decide to use spices, they do have a downside. You've got about 10 minutes of usage time, and then you hit the downer. I believe it's 5 minutes. I don't usually use spices, but anyway, the 3 most common ones you're going to find are Muon Gold, Booster Blue, Neutron Pixie. Those are the 3, if you use spices, you're probably going to be familiar with. If you want me to go over each one, I will make one of each one and we can look at all the different properties. It won't take a long video to do that. I'll be happy to do it if you guys want me to. But for now, I just wanted to show you how easy it was to go from Spices 1 to Spices 4. Now, every crafting profession has something you make that nets the most experience for the least amount of money to grind through a class like that. Sometimes it takes more, sometimes it takes less. I know one of the classes I did, I had to make probably 2,600 of something to make the master box in a crafting class. So an actual crafting class does take a lot more to do. Usually about 5 hours, and you can be done with it. From if you have artisan and you've got the box, say you want to do architect. Starting from here can take you maybe 5-6 hours to get to master architect. Architect is fairly easy. The item you make gives you a ton of points, but it takes a ton of points, a ton of resources to make it. So just be aware of that. The resource use on architect is huge. And in order to get the upper boxes, you need 121,000 experience points for each box. and it's 99,000, 77,000, 55,000 for these. But like I said, you can knock this out in about 4 hours or 5 hours if you sit down and just do it, which is what I usually do. You can make an item by request if you want to, but really it takes forever for somebody to want to buy something from you and for you to be able to provide it. And that assumes you have the extreme amount of resources on you to happen to make that item, because if they want a guild hall, you're going to need factory crates, you're going to need a bunch of stuff. So I'm pretty sure the item you make for this is, if I remember right, it's been a while. It's one of the mining units. I think it's the water or something. One of the mining things you use. And you just make that. And then you get up here and you make one of these walls. Installations. No, that's it. Yeah, one of them gives you the ability to make wall units. So you get up to that. I can't remember which one it is. I haven't done architect in a long time, so. Oh, yeah, that's it. You make wall modules until you get up here. And I think you do construction too. No. Yeah, okay, construction 1, and then you make Gungan head statues for the entire rest of the time. Completely unsellable, but they get you quick experience. So you, like I said, I think I did this in about 5 or 6 hours from novice architect up to master. Wasn't hard. It's inevitable. You make an item, you get experience for it, you move forward. You do it again and again and again and again. So anyway, that is the basics of crafting. And later we will do a more advanced crafting guide. But right now we have some other things to do, and I'd like to get this video edited and up, because this one's going to take me a little while to edit because of the time lapse. Not real familiar with how that works, so it's going to take a little playing around. But we'll get it, and I'll get it uploaded. But I did want to make sure this got out and you guys had it at your disposal. And I will be back with another game video, and later tonight another Star Wars Galaxies combat video. So I will catch you later, but I did want to get this out because I did tell you I'd try to do a couple extra episodes this weekend for you guys on some extra outside things. So this was one of those, and hopefully tomorrow I will have time to do another one. We will see. I don't know. I got tied up a little bit today, so I'm a little behind on my schedule, but I'm still trying to work through it. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. See ya.